Silver signals 200 US dollars an ounce. Yeah, I think so. My name's Strutter. It's the 23rd of January 2026. It's probably the 24th of January by the time you watch this. My Friday night. Quite a day, quite a week, quite a month actually, for silver and for gold. $103.45 US per troy ounce of silver, $141.75 Canadian. But that's not the price for physical. $141 is the price for digital silver, but here in Canada, the physical price is about 159 Canadian dollars. Difference of 1750 or 18 Canadian dollars. And that is up from about $12 or $11 earlier this year. So about a 50% increase in the premium. So the premium, now they're charging you basically $18 to make that coin. You know, back, it used to cost them $2 to make the coin, or less anyways, because the premium was $1.50 or $2 for a long time. But now apparently just because the price of the silver has gone up, the coin is costing a lot more to make. On top of the actual price of the bullion, of course, like the actual just minting, the pressing of that coin, chunk chunk, that apparently is now worth $18. Or maybe that's just demand is out of control and the physical market is dislocating from the electronic market. That's my bet, anyway. Because this price has been on a crazy tear. Look at that daily chart going back. And I've been talking us through this entire chart and predicting actually a lot of these moves up and down on this chart. And we talked all the way through that big cup and handle there back in late October, early November, and then the Christmas rush and interesting action there at the end of the year. And another cup and handle formed, and I said there, I'm not bearish here in the 70s. It was $76, and I said, I'm not bearish here, because everyone else was turning bearish. They're saying that was it. Almost everybody anyway. A lot of analysts, or they were just gone quiet because it was very weird price action over the holidays. I said, no way, we are going higher, probably to 95. And boom, a couple of days later, we were at 93. And then at 93, I said, caution on the way to 100, there may be a pullback. The pullback we got was not so much. It went down to 86, I think, and then another little dip later on, but nothing substantial, nothing. I was expecting a bigger correction, and this has not happened. And so, and as it did break through that 95 level I mentioned, of course, we've had this pop in the last 24 hours or so, up above 100 US dollars for the first time. So I've been watching on this channel, been watching silver since it was in the 1 digits, and now it's in the 3 digits. So this has been an adventure for me, but there was a long pause there. This was a massive cup and handle, a 45-year cup and handle, and I happened to be present for the end of the cup and then the entire handle of that 45-year formation. But we've now broken out of that. And now I believe that's why we're in a new phase of the silver market. This is the, I don't have the name for it, but this is what we've been waiting for. This is the launch. Silver has launched, and that's great. That's wonderful, and I'm so happy about that. And I do believe we're going to $200 pretty soon. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but I think that will be this year. In fact, in the next 6 months, probably. But, it's mixed for me. There's a bit of a silver lining, and there's a bit of a dark and scary lining to this, because, my dream, my entire life was to help people, actually. I might not come off as that kind of a person, but I actually do like to help other people. I am sort of not very personable, but I do love all other humans. I believe that they all have the same rights that I do. And I've been fighting for that for a very long time, and that's just my thing. And the way I did that when I was in my 20s is I went into nursing, and I did about 10 years of psychiatric nursing, and I helped a lot of people in that. But I felt, among other reasons, I felt that I wasn't able to help as many people anymore through that. The system was changing and healthcare was changing. That was the end of the 2000s or so that I was experiencing that, and I got out of nursing, and I needed something else that I could do to help people. And I happened to be what they called back then waking up at the time, finding out what actually was going on in the world and what had been happening the past several decades or even generations. And because the official story is a lie, and we all have to wake up in our own way and figure that out in our own way. But I did that in the late 2000s, and how I wanted to help people was to help them do that. So that's what I got into, was this channel. I talk about silver mostly, but it's really a liberty-based channel. I'm trying to advance liberty. That's my thing. And so one of my dreams to do that was to help people see that gold and silver are real money, and that they are incredibly undervalued compared to what they should be and what they probably will be very soon. And I believe that by helping the common person, the average guy and girl on YouTube, I thought, and other platforms now, I thought I could reach decent people. I thought this was reaching the common person, like rather than corporations, banks, governments and stuff. That's fine, but I believe in the person first and foremost. I thought let's protect the people from what's coming, and that was my goal, was to spread the message of silver. And you can go back, and I've been consistent since the very beginning. I started this channel in 2006, so it's been almost 20 years of uploads, of freedom-based uploads, and almost exclusively silver content. Like I'd say 70 to 80% of it is silver. Something I've said since, I don't know how long, basically since 2011, when silver crashed back down to $12 and $14 and bounced along there for years. Back in those days, I was saying, they cannot let silver shine. You may remember me saying these exact words probably dozens of times. I would say things like, silver is the canary in the coal mine of the financial system, and they cannot let silver shine until they are ready for the New World Order, the Great Reset, whatever you want to call it. And that is what they are calling it, the Great Reset and the New World Order, right? Mark Carney, Trudeau, his girlfriend, what's her name? They announced that the New World Order is here, and the New World Order is advancing now because of what's going on in the world right now. These tariffs, these might equals right, all that kind of stuff going on, seizing other countries. They're saying that the old world is over, and we're forming a new world order right now. So we talked about that for years on here, and we're, called all kinds of names for that. It's absolutely true. Even by those exact words. They're now saying this is the time for the new world order. And I said forever that silver cannot shine until they are ready for that. So now this is happening to silver. Silver is all of a sudden finally breaking free from manipulation. It's not by accident that this is happening. Absolutely not by accident. The manipulation is being allowed to be ended. They pulled it back. They ended it. They want this to happen. They are ready for the New World Order, and they've literally announced it the last week or two that that's what's happening now. And 2026 is about the New World Order being put into effect, and a new monetary system is coming very, very soon. So celebrate the $100 silver level, US anyway, whatever, it's 140 something now, Canadian, and other currencies are all at all-time highs as well. Both gold and silver all at all-time highs in all currencies now. Fiat currencies are crumbling and falling. That's a good thing. It also means that something different and something big is coming. So this is now the time to be prepared. If you have not done what needs to be done in your life, do it now. You're waiting for an invitation, there it is. Do it. That's my message. That's what I want people to hear. Do it now. Get it done, whatever it is in your life. Financial, emotional, spiritual, physical, preparing for what's coming, practically. Get it all done now. There will be no better time than now. Silver, yes, it's going to $200. I've given my rationale many times on this channel. Many times. For why it's going to $200 and beyond. $200 is just the inflation adjusted price. It's about $205 now if you want to calculate it. $205 if you calculate from 1980, January, $50 silver high. That would be $205 today if you use the bogus government numbers. So it's going to at least that. The world is not that place anymore. It's not 1980. If that happens again, it's going to 1,000 anyway. There's many reasons why I think it's going to at least 1,000. We're now at 3 digits. 4 digits is not going to be that far away, but $200 is next. Let's talk about gold though. Over onto the gold chart. There isn't too much to say other than that $5,000 level. You can see that over the past few days, gold really took off, did better than silver over those, about all week, really. It was outpacing silver. And then just over the past 24 hours or so at the end of the week, silver started to shine like crazy. And silver had a $7 or $8% or dollar up day today. And gold was just banging and banging and banging its head on about 49.80 all day, just sideways consolidation. To me, that tells me it was eating up a whole bunch of resistances there. People putting shorts and people selling at 49.80 or so below 5,000, thinking that that's a psychological barrier and it will not go above that, or at least not for now. People are betting on it coming down below that. So people want to know my analysis. Thank you for your messages and such. Yeah, I do think it's going higher. Will it go higher exactly straight away on Sunday night, Monday morning, when the market opens again? I don't know. Yes, there could be a massive gap to the upside, even above 5,000. We may never even buy gold below 5,000 US dollars again. That could very well happen. There could just be a massive gap to the upside. It could gap up to 51 or 5,200 even. Absolutely. We're that bullish now. But what's going on is silver, just the past 24 hours, has been pushing and pumping and going to new highs constantly, every hour a new high. And gold could not, but gold is just eating up through that resistance. I think if that resistance will be gone soon, and some positions may change even over the weekend or at the end of the day, Friday, and who knows what's going to happen on Monday. Those positions may be gone, or most of them gone, and gold will pop through that. And then gold won't be holding back anymore, and gold will also be pumping. And then gold and silver both at the same time at all-time highs and past all resistance levels. So there could be a big move coming, yes. Even this coming week, for sure. You don't want to hear it. It's like the weatherman saying, 50% chance of rain. It means he has no idea. And yeah, I don't know. No, I really don't know. Next week could be a down week for sure. So there's a lot of reasons why. Silver at 100 doesn't mean that just because it's gone to 103 doesn't mean it can't pop back down. It can easily, in a couple hours, it could be down to $98 again. So, and then it can have a little bit more trouble getting through the next time. Saw exactly that with Bitcoin at 100,000 at various key levels. But so it's interesting at all-time highs. There's no precedent, so people can use Fibonacci indicators and different things. I'm not doing that. I'm looking at psychological barriers like 5,000. But yeah, I can see that the resistance is being just chewed right through. I think that there's not much of it left probably. So there could be a big move. As I said before, a couple videos ago, there is going to be a pullback at some point. And it may not be for very long, but there will be some kind of a pullback. There's always at least a couple of days that go down, the markets move down, the dollar goes up, and gold and silver pull back and such. But as I've also said, it's going up so quickly that if you wait a couple of days for a pullback, it's only going to be back to the price it was today. If you're lucky, it might even be higher. So a pullback may be higher from where you are now. In a lot of the cases, there is no better time coming. We don't know if gold and silver ever will come back to these prices. Mike Maloney for years talked about unobtainium, and it's getting to be that point. If you go look on the Canadian websites right now, you can find maples for $159, random year, $18 above spot. Sometimes, and sometimes you can't. Sometimes there's other stuff available, sometimes there isn't. It's really spotty. It's really spotty. The supply is minimal. It's basically what other people are selling. That's just going back onto the market. That's really all there is. The mints aren't producing very much. If they are, that's snapped up immediately. And overseas demand is monstrous. So gold and silver will continue to go up. One will lead, the other will lead. Now I think maybe if they both break through, if gold goes through 5,000 and silver stays above 100, then yeah, they will both probably rocket up another 5-10% pretty quickly. So, but silver will outpace gold. It always does in bull markets. So let's look at the gold to silver ratio. These are the monthly candles now. There we are down at 48. You can see that massive plunge. And at 105, I did a video. I'll talk about it in a moment. And at 100, I pulled the trigger on a tube of maples, and I'll also talk about that in a moment. But that turned out to be a very good moment. You can see that went from the last 6-7 months have been almost straight downward. And look at the 2011 plunge now. That is not as steep. That was steep, and that was a remarkable bull market. I lived and documented through that entire thing, and a lot of people that are watching this now were here with me. It was not at all as steep as this one is now. Look at the size of those red candles. So the momentum is not over. Something weird, really weird, would have to happen for that to just suddenly reverse. The momentum is massive. It's just huge. So this can go down to below 25 or even to 20 or less. So I'll talk about that in a moment, but that's the gold to silver ratio. And lastly, a visual representation of an ounce of gold, currently worth almost 5,000 US, and an equal amount in dollar terms of silver bullion. This is 48 ounces versus 1 ounce. 4 10-ounce bars and 4 of these 2-ounce maples. 48 ounces to 1. Which would you rather have currently? I asked this question about 6 months ago here at this same table. I showed an ounce of gold. I think it was 2½ ounces at the time. Showed an ounce of gold and 105 ounces of silver. It was a big stacked up pile and all kinds of loose change and stuff. It's a big pile. And I said, which would you rather have? So I said what's going to happen, in my opinion, is that the gold to silver ratio is going to head down toward 15 or 20. And at 25 to 1, I intend to switch over to gold. So I bought a tube of maples. I showed that here on the channel at 100 to 1 silver to gold ratio, gold to silver ratio. And I said at 25 to 1, I'm going to trade back. So now we're at 48 to 1. We're more than halfway there. And that was, what, I don't know, maybe about 6 months or so. So I think maybe in about 6 months or so, that's my time frame for silver to be at 25 to 1 to gold. So I think that will be about when silver goes up into the $200 range that I was talking about earlier in this video. So gold would be maybe 7,500, 8,000 US then. And yeah, I think that's coming in the next 6 months. Thanks for watching, and talk to you guys soon.